everybody, it's Chelsea of the Lit Sisters, and today I'm going to be doing my review of the Shadowhunters TV series. This is going to be a review about episodes 1 and 2. This is going to be a spoiler review, so if you have not seen the first 2 episodes of Shadowhunters, you might not want to watch this video, so please leave. Bye! Here are my general thoughts and opinions about the first 2 episodes. General thoughts and opinions about the first episode is that it was okay. Pilots in general are not the greatest because they have so much of a job to do where they have to completely introduce you to this new world and try to keep you hooked into the show so you want to watch more. I'm gonna give the pilot a C just because the pacing of the pilot felt weird. There were certain things that just felt not genuine at all. I don't know how else to put it. Certain parts of the pilot just did not work at all for me, but I feel like it actually did its job of keeping me interested in the show enough to keep watching. I wouldn't say that the pilot was bad. I thought it did fulfill its job. It just felt odd to me. Like, I laughed out loud at some of the transitions because they felt so weird. Like, especially when you find out Valentine is in Chernobyl, like when it just pops up with a thing that says Chernobyl, I laughed because it was so unexpected. Because A, that's not in the books, and B, the way it just like flashed up real quick, it was really unexpected. It just caught me off guard and it seemed kind of funny to me. It is changed from the books a little bit, and they've said, if you've watched interviews with everything, they said that they were going to change things from the book a bit, and that they were going to mess with the timeline of how things happened a bit, but they were going to try to stick to the main story points. So that being said, I don't really mind any of the changes they've made so far. I don't mind that the characters are older. I think that works well with a TV series. And I don't mind things like there being more Shadowhunters at the Institute. I know that's a big issue people have been having, is that it's not just the Lightwoods and Jace at the Institute in the TV series. It's like a hub of Shadowhunter activity, which to me makes more sense. Like, you have like a whole city of like New York, and the only Shadowhunters you have are like the Lightwoods. I don't know if the other ones just don't live at the Institute or whatever, but it just seemed to me like there should be more people at the Institute than there were. So I like that change where you see more people at the Institute. Another change that they made from the book was that Clary's mom was trying to tell Clary about what the Shadow World was. Like, for her 18th birthday, she gives her a stele, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, for her birthday, and she's gonna like have this big conversation with her. Jocelyn was so much of her drive was keeping Clary protected from the Shadow World. But I think it makes sense in the fact that they aged her up and that the protections were starting to fade, like she was starting to get her memories back just naturally. So I think it makes sense that Jocelyn would want to have a conversation with her now that she was too old for the protections to work. Like, the way they framed it in the show made a lot of sense. Those are the big changes, I guess. Or Luke is a detective, which I don't mind. I think that works well with his character. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. The one change I'm really interested to see where they're going with it is that Valentine is collecting mundane blood in this, and I don't know if it's just for his like weird experimentations, which looks like they're going to be a more prevalent part of the show than they were in the book. I'm just really interested to see where that particular plotline goes, because I know when he got the sword he started draining down Walders so he can change the origin of the sword, but I want to know where they're going with that particular plot line, if it's going to come back up, and what's all going to happen with it. One part where I feel like the pilot really shines and is really leading me to come back to the series is in the moments of characterization that we get to see. There's not a whole lot of it in the pilot just because they are shoving so much information at you. Like, I feel like the pilot would have been a lot better if they would have like slowed down the speed at which they tell you about this world and all the information you get. I feel like if they would have spread it out a little bit more, maybe the pacing wouldn't have felt so weird. Between these moments of like just info throwing, you get these like really cool moments of characterization. Simon especially is shining in these first 2 episodes. His lines, he's just as funny as he was in the books, and Alberto He's doing a fantastic job as Simon. Definitely, like, I think he's like most people's favorite part of the show, just because his characterization is like so good. Like, he's definitely the best. The next one after that I think has the best characterization is actually Alec, which surprised me a little bit. He's kind of like the stick in the mud character who wants to follow the rules and keeps everybody in line, and he doesn't like change and everything. But the way they're showing that in his character is really, really well done. Matthew Daddario is doing a very good job with Alec, and in that same vein, whenever Alec and Izzy interact, I love, because it's such a great sibling characterization. I think that it works super well. Anytime they interact, I'm always like, oh yay, yay, because I love the way that their sibling relationship is. Like when they're in the middle of like arguing and they stop to say I love you to each other. I thought that was a really nice moment in the pilot. There's a moment in the second episode where Izzy's like, oh, I bet you $10 he doesn't approve of this mission. And Alec comes in, I don't approve of this mission. That was fantastic. I liked that rapport, and I hope we get to see more of it. See, Emerald, I don't really know what to think of her right now, just because I haven't been a huge fan of the like dialogue she's been getting aside from the sibling moments. I feel like she's been getting a lot of cliches, like just scripted wise. So it's like, well, it's kind of hard to judge you right now because I don't know where we're actually going with your character. I'm interested to find out. Like, hopefully they start to give her more natural dialogue. I did see a sneak peek scene from episode 3, and it seemed like her dialogue was better in that episode, which made me really happy because I really need her dialogue to not be like, you were born to do this, or heavy is the head that wears the crown. Like, I need her to stop saying those kinds of things. Like, no one actually says those things in like real life dialogue. I would like her lines to be a little more natural, I guess. And I don't think that is Emerald's problem. I think that was like a script issue. Like, you can only do so much with like that kind of a line. Clary and Jace right now, I think it's really hard to get their characterization from the first 2 episodes, just because I feel like since we're seeing the show from Clary's perspective, you're kind of just getting all the information in their scenes, and Jace is the one that's providing the information. So it's kind of, hopefully they stop throwing so much information at us at once, so where we can just see these characters sort of act naturally, I guess is what I'm saying, and they're not being like used as exposition. Jace, a lot of his lines are exposition. He's just explaining, he's like, these are what runes are, and this is what the Shadowhunter world is, and you're a Shadowhunter. Like, I need some just like more natural dialogue. There's like some moments of it, but not enough right now for me to tell how much I'm gonna like the characterization of Jace. So I'm just hoping that the first couple episodes we get all of the exposition out of the way, and then it's just more natural dialogue between the characters. That's what I'm really hoping for, because the moments where you saw it in the pilot, there weren't a ton, but the moments where you saw it were great. I will say I've loved anytime Valentine was on the scene. I love what he's doing with the character. It's exactly like how I pictured Valentine would be, like this really put together guy who could almost, like, that's the thing with Valentine, is that he's not, in his mind, he's not really evil. In his mind, he's doing what he thinks is right, and he's trying to convince everyone around him he was right. So he's really like this kind of like suave, charming kind of guy. And there is this little bit of like a evil, like, you see the experiments and stuff like that, so you know he's kind of an evil dude. But the way he is, it's not like classic like evil villain, and I'm really, really liking it. And you can tell, one of the things I loved is that when he saw Jocelyn, you could tell that he really did love Jocelyn. Like, you can tell there's actual feelings there, which I really liked. I'm gonna go ahead and give my general rating for the second episode, because I'm gonna talk more about that. The second episode I say is a B. It's definitely an improvement, and I can only hope that each episode will get better. I think a lot of that comes with that we got less exposition in this episode and more characterization, which is what I really like to see. I'm a really big fan of good characters and like good characterization, and if there's not good characterization, even if the plot is interesting, I'm just not really that into it. So I'm really excited. So I really hope that we get more characterization. It does seem to be moving a lot faster than it was in the book with the plot, in that in this we already are going to the City of Bones, and we're already meeting the Silent Brothers in this episode, and Clary's already finding out that Valentine is her father. I feel like that was a lot more delayed in the book. Another plot difference from the book to the series is that once Valentine realizes that Jocelyn had the help of some warlock to help to put her into this like weird trance thing that she's in. He starts hunting all of the warlocks in New York City, and Magnus is like, instead of just being around to help the Shadowhunters, he's like getting all the warlocks out of the city, which is a big difference. I'm really interested to see where this goes, but right now what that leads to is that Magnus has had like one scene per episode, and I really want to see some more Magnus, so I hope we get more Magnus soon. Just because I love his character, and I want to see how they're going to integrate him now that they're like skipping, I think, the whole party scene where Simon gets turned into a rat. Because at the end of this episode, he's just abducted by the vampires, which is a weird thing because they're asking for the Mortal Cup, and I'm like, why do they need the Mortal Cup? Like, I don't understand where this is going, so I definitely will have to tune in tomorrow night. That's when the third episode airs, and see where exactly this plot line is going, because I don't really, it's a little different from the book, so I'm interested to see where it goes. Which I really think is actually a strength for the show, is that it's very similar to the book, but it's different enough from the book where you don't know for sure where it's going to happen. So I think that's going to keep readers of the book hooked into the show, because I want to see where they're going with this. So I'm gonna keep watching, obviously. I'm really looking forward to getting less exposition on the show and just sort of letting the plot develop. I think they just need to work on explaining things less and showing things more, because that's gonna work better. Like, instead of just over explaining everything, just letting us get to the plot naturally. Some people have said things about the effects. I'm really open to the effects because I know it's not like a movie budget. You're not gonna have movie budget effects. It's on Freeform, ABC Family, so you're gonna be limited in what special effects you can do. And I'm willing to not deal with like super great effects. I'm willing to deal with just sort of okay effects. And I think actually I've not really been too distracted by effects on the show. The demons were okay. They all have the same sort of thing about them, but I feel like, you know, you work with what you can. Overall, I like it, and I think I'm gonna keep watching it, and hopefully it does well in the first season. I know I haven't looked up for the second episode, but I know the first episode did really well in the ratings. It was like the biggest premiere in ABC Family in a few years. So since the first episode did so well, I'm hopeful that the first season will go well, and that hopefully, as it seemed to from the pilot to the second episode, it'll just continue to get better with each episode, and then you can let it evolve over seasons. Because I think shows, especially like this one, they need at least a season just to like find their feet and really get into the good part of the show. And I think that's true with a lot of, if you go back and you watch a lot of first seasons of shows, unless they're like on HBO or something like that, a lot of first network of cable shows, they are not great, and then they get but there's like something promising about them, so they get renewed, and then the second season is even better, and it just builds on that. So I'm hoping this is what we get to happen with Shadowhunters. I feel like as long as it keeps improving, and hopefully we get less exposition, I'm hoping that it'll be better. This was just like a general review for the beginning of the show. I think I'll do a review maybe every 2 episodes or something like that, just because doing one for every episode seems weird. For those ones, I'll try to like be more like specific with the review, like have like actual notes and everything. But this was just a review of my general feelings about the start of the show. Obviously right now I'm really hopeful for where the show is going, and we'll see. Sorry guys, my camera died while I was filming the outro. And until the next 2 episodes, I will see you again on Wednesday. Heather won't be uploading until Friday this week. She had some work conflicts come up. I will still be doing another video on Wednesday, a normal video about books, because this is our booktube channel. Until Wednesday, happy reading, or in this case, happy watching.